Okay, we are live. Want to say hello to everyone out there. Welcome to the 10th edition of the Shadow Collective podcast. I am Darth Eldor, and I'm always here with my new guests, Swampgrass and Andy Beads. How you both doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Doing great over here as well. Doing great over here as well.
Doing
um,
great.
for those that are on Twitch watching us live, we have this nice nifty new setup. I want to say, Andy, thank you. It looks beautiful. It looks. I mean, we have a pretty nice setup here.
Glad you enjoy it. Hopefully everybody else does.
um. Okay, so not overly. It's weird. It's not an overly active couple weeks, but got a couple of good teasers in here. Last couple weeks. We got another. We finally got our date for the Ahsoka show, which is August 23rd. Or was it the 23rd or 25th? I want to say it was a Friday. They announced it for
For what? Which one? Sorry.
the new
Ahsoka?
Ahsoka show. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it said the 23rd.
And that would be a Wednesday. Yes.
Was it? I think so.
Yeah, I think
Is it
that
a
does
Wednesday?
sound familiar.
Wednesday, 23rd. No, it's a Friday.
Okay. All right. So I guess I was wrong.
It's okay.
It
But
happens. It happens.
We're allowed to be wrong sometimes.
it can't all be good, right?
I guess not.
All right. So, but at least we have a date. We also got a 30-second trailer in for that, and gotta say, pretty interesting trailer that we got there. I don't know if I'm pretty sure you both saw it by now. Just kind of curious what you guys thought, because while there was some of the old stuff there, we got a couple nice little tidbits added into this one. I mean, I know for me, the biggest thing was seeing it looked like Sabine was getting ready to face off against Shin Hati, and she had Ezra's lightsaber, and and it looked like the two of them were about to face off, and it's like, oh really?
Yeah, something I thought was really cool about that part is I've talked about this on stream before that there's like this theory out there that Sabine is like somewhat of a Force user and potentially in the future could become like a Jedi or something to that degree. So when I seen that, I was like, see, maybe these people were right.
I mean, there
Or
could be
maybe
something to that. I just think it more leads into. Sorry, go ahead. I know I cut you off there.
no worries. No, I was just like, it just maybe just it's one of those things where they're just like, oh, lightsaber. Maybe there's going to be some. I didn't hear the rumors myself about the Sabine thing, but I mean, it's possible they could have been like, oh well, she's probably got the lightsaber. She has the lightsaber, so maybe she's got some force abilities. But I don't know, like could be all
But
for nothing.
I
But
mean,
yeah, I think it was a thing where somebody made a video and they just had like these little clips of her doing something that like kind of like hinted at her maybe having some at least sensitivity to the force.
the one thing I remember is, Kanan did give her at least basic training, so
Hmm.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
she did have a little bit of ability with the dark saber.
The dark saber.
So I believe it transfers over a little bit. I still think in a battle with somebody with real force ability though, she might be able to block a couple shots, but she shouldn't.
I
And she
agree with
knows
that.
like the basic the basic stance that he was trying to show her, or the basic couple stances or whatever it was. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think she was better with the dark saber than our homeboy Din Djarin.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I think she, I mean, I feel because maybe she was younger, maybe she learned a lot quicker. I don't know, or the theory. I mean, back to that theory
Yeah,
again. I mean, she
little bit
could,
of
yeah, look a
little bit
little
of
bit of that
connection.
connection where it's connecting a little faster, right? So
Yeah.
And hey, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, and also wasn't her lineage, wasn't there like a Mandalorian Jedi or something in her family lineage or something to that degree?
I
well,
think it
the
was
first wasn't it the first the first one to wield the dark saber was a Jedi,
Oh,
wasn't he?
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He was
Yeah, I
but he
think
the
was
it is
he was
something.
what
but he was part of what's his name's family? Not the Wrens, the can't think of his
Oh
name.
yeah, Vizsla,
Yeah,
Vizsla. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you're right. You're right. It is Vizsla. Yeah, yeah.
it's the same clan, but not the same family.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Now, how that works out, I mean, where all the clans work together, who knows? Maybe there are family ties in there that we don't know about yet. And I
Yeah,
mean,
true.
but we do have other seasons of The Mandalorian coming up soon. Maybe we'll actually get something there. So that'd be kind of cool to see as well.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right.
see, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So let's before we do anything else, let's get into some of the news for the past couple weeks. Um, First thing that came up that you'd seen was a rumor. I definitely want to make sure that we state it as a rumor. So definitely take it with a grain of salt. But they were talking about Lucasfilm potentially talking to Idris Elba as the villain for the new Ray movie. Which I don't know about you guys. I'd be excited for it.
Yeah. He plays good villains, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, he's a great actor. I think he would do a great job. Um,
He's English.
Yeah.
It's kind of in their wheelhouse, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
So I mean, it could definitely work out. I mean, I also would want to get an idea of what kind of villain we're talking about. Is it just like Alan Sith? Are we talking someone trying to once again rebuild the Empire? Are we talking about potential use of Kong, which I'm excited to see some form of it in the future, but doesn't necessarily have to start there. Yeah, I'd definitely be interested. I'm interested to see where they could go with this.
I mean, all of the above. Like it wouldn't matter. Him playing a villain of any sort. Uh, obviously, we all would love to see the Sith come back and be in this again, or maybe maybe he's this like this Empire guy who was like, oh well, the First Order didn't work, let's bring the Empire back. I don't know, like it could be anything. Like, but I mean, he would definitely kill it because he's a great actor. Everything that he plays as villain wise, I've always I've liked. And I think it'd be great. Hopefully it's true.
Okay, Songcrest, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I could see him being like some kind of like Empire type character. Not sure exactly what, but something along those lines would be kind of befitting. But yeah, I think it'd be cool. I like him. He's awesome. Great actor.
It'd be quite the names in this movie though too, right? Like to have
Mhm.
Idris Elba, have Daisy Ridley, have um wow, it's the other guy, Finn.
Yep, such a John Boyega. Yeah.
Yeah, John
Yeah,
Boyega. But I mean, like, I know they're more recent to fame with these movies, but still, like, I mean, a lot of names for I don't know, for a movie like this. But hopefully they surround it with people we don't know, and then it's just a nice mix.
Maybe done with that. All right.
It would also be really cool if he's like a really, really badass Sith and just comes out of nowhere and turns the whole thing around and makes it really awesome too. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, we just gotta keep in mind at this point. Like we said, that is just a rumor at this point, so definitely take that with a grain of salt as we move forward. But like we said, hopefully it is true somewhere. But moving on. Getting to the next story. Disney has actually pushed a lot of their movies back over the last week. And Star Wars was one of the ones that got involved. The Star Wars movies were not left out of this. We had originally we're supposed to have a Star Wars movie in December of 2025, and that has been pushed back. I want to say to I'm trying to look at the exact date here. It was being moved back to May 22nd of 2026. The one bonus of that second movie, which was slated to come out at the end of 2026, still sitting there. So in 2026, we are now slated to get 2 Star Wars movies as opposed to just one. And then we had another movie set for, I believe it was December 17th of 2027. I don't think that moved at all. But what do you guys think about this?
I mean, who wouldn't want 2 Star Wars movies in 1 year? I I just don't want to happen what happened to and I know like it's, you know, bringing up The Last Jedi and Solo and all that stuff, like the placement of 2 Star Wars movies within 6 months, like we saw what had happened. And I know Last Jedi wasn't the greatest ever. People have their opinions on it, whatever. But I enjoyed Solo, and Solo got the brunt end of that, the whole thing. And I don't know. I just wouldn't want that to happen again. But on the positive side, like I would love 2 Star Wars movies in a year. Of course, like they would just have to, I don't know, figure out how to do it properly.
like you're saying, like the negative outlook on the Last Jedi kind of reflected onto Solo because of the proximity. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah. I feel anyways. That's
Yeah,
how I
I
feel.
think so.
And I mean Last Jedi, obviously everybody's got their opinions about the movie. But yeah, the negativity just bled over into that movie where people were just like, I'm not watching any more Star Wars stuff because Last Jedi sucked, you know. And I'm not saying that. I still will watch it. I would watch it still, but
Yeah.
I know people who have boycotted Star Wars now because of that
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah, we definitely hear it out there in the community, the Star Wars community. Definitely a lot of negativity surrounding that whole sequel trilogy, really.
Yep.
But that movie specifically too. And I think you're right because yeah, I've heard that too. They're like, yeah, all Disney does is make movies like The Last Jedi and Solo, and it's like, well, Solo is good. You know?
Yeah, it just got overshadowed by what happened with Last Jedi. Like,
Yeah, it just
I don't
gets
know.
thrown into there as if it's the same, but it's not really the same.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, I think the one difference here is, we've seen this a lot with the Marvel movies where they'll sit there and they'll just push dates and it doesn't really affect much other than just the date of the release. Whereas, I mean, usually when we were hearing stuff like this with Star Wars, it was always because there's something going wrong. There's some kind of differences between directors and the producers, and at least we're not hearing that at this point. It's just look, we're just Disney stepped in and said we're pushing this movie back. Okay, I could deal with that.
I just hope like it was pushed from like what is it? They pushed it from 1 year to the next, right? So I just hope that like everything stays on track. You know what I mean? Like if they're pushing all this stuff a year, what's to say that, a director or a writer falls out because the contract, I don't know, like I just hope everything stays together, if they're doing this, because well, they're doing it, but I just hope that it stays together, because then, who's to say somebody falls out, somebody's contracted to do something else when they're supposed to be doing this, blah blah blah. So then, like, it gets pushed further, or it's just, I just hope everything stays on track. That's all.
I agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like I said,
Yeah,
at least we're not hearing about any differences. It's just
Well, not yet. It's been like not even a week yet, I don't think so.
yeah.
yeah. I think it's kind of like that other news article we had a while back where I can't remember who it was that was saying it, but was talking about cutbacks. They were going to be doing a lot of cutbacks as far as costs and stuff. So it seems like maybe this could be a part of that. Whether that
Yeah, could be.
is the case or not, it just like kind of fits along with that idea that might be the case. I think.
I mean, look at the amount of stuff they're putting out. That's like just the list of things that are going out, man. Like it's between Star Wars and all the Marvel stuff. It's
Oh yeah,
crazy.
and
It's crazy, man.
Avatar and
And
all that
it's
stuff. It's
nuts.
all like it's a lot of stuff for sure.
And like they have it mapped all the way up to, I think the last Avatar movie's coming out like 2031 or something. Like I'm like, holy
Holy.
crap, it's so far away. Like
That's scary.
Wow.
nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, actually just last weekend I put on Disney Plus and I was like, "Oh yeah, Quantum Mania. That was another Marvel movie
Yep.
that just came out. Like,
Yep.
man, these movies are coming out fast and furious. It's crazy."
I know, right?
Yeah.
I haven't even watched any of those in a while either. I have to catch up on those things.
Yeah, no, anyways. But I like it seems to work for Marvel though, because you know how Marvel likes to put out like two to three a year almost, maybe at least two a year, right? So it seems to work, but it's uh I don't know, like it's like Star Wars has like this kryptonite that that always seems to happen. And I know Star Wars fans are a whole different level than Marvel fans or DC fans or whatever, right? Star Wars fans are like up here, like craziness about their stuff, right? So it's a little different, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hopefully it
very
all works
different
out.
styles of everything because like Star Wars is always very specific. Like the writing style has to be in line with what is Star Wars, or at least as
Well,
close as it could be, you know?
George's rule, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
in the realm of George's rules, right?
yeah. So to some degree, there's like a lot of it's a lot stricter. Whereas Marvel, it's like, yeah, go nuts, do whatever you want, write a story as long as it fits with some sort of comic book that's ever been created.
Well, that's
Even if
it,
it's
right?
close to it, then
Yeah.
we're good.
Well, you
So
got directors and writers like what's his name there? Takai Watiti or whatever his name.
Taika Waititi,
Like
yeah,
like he's just like way on left field sometimes. You're
yeah,
just like, what are you doing, bud? Like
yeah. He makes some pretty wild stuff.
but yeah. Anyways.
All right, so I'm actually I'm gonna jump a couple stories here and just to
Ooh.
segue this a little better. But considering the talk that we just had about the Star Wars movies and worrying that we were hoping that there's no problems, another story came out this week, released from the new Jedi Order movie, basically saying, despite everything, despite being pushed back, they're still on schedule to start their pre-production by the end of the year and start shooting by spring of next year. So they're not looking. It doesn't look like any of this has really messed with their schedule, which is good news. It means they'll probably have a little more time in post production. They'll have a little more time if they sit there and they do come across problems while shooting this movie. And I don't. That doesn't bother me. I would love to see them in a spot where if they do have problems, they have time to fix it. They have time to make it better. But knowing that they're still on schedule despite their pushback, I think that's good news.
Yeah, that is good news for sure.
I mean, I totally agree with the with you on that. With it could be good for them having more time, to kind of fine tune some stuff in production and all that stuff after, like post production or whatever they're doing, editing, or add more stuff. Like it could benefit these movies, as long as their starting points are still the same, like their shoot schedule remains the same. Maybe it's going to benefit these movies for sure.
Yeah, when the deadline is pushed farther, hopefully it gives you more time to come up with a nice finished product.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, I think we kind of already said most of what we wanted to say.
Yeah.
But it's kind of good to know that we are where we are with it. Gonna bring us straight to the next story here, where we got word earlier this week that they're basically saying that season, while we have been hearing rumors of season 2 for Boba Fett, Lucasfilm is basically reporting that at this point we are not, or at least at this point we are not getting a second season of Boba Fett. I do think we will still eventually get one, whether it might be a couple down the line or not. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
Yeah. Go ahead.
I've always felt that, I talked about this. I probably said something about this before. Like it wouldn't bother me if they don't get with season 2. To be honest, like, where I season and I enjoyed the show, but there was lots of stuff that seemed to be going wrong, or something they could have done better, or whatever it is, and it seemed like they were trying to catch up or trying to fix the story, or I don't know. But it was good in the end. But I feel that putting it aside for now, and even if they come back to it later, whatever. But if they put it aside for now, because obviously they're focused on movies, right? And I think they're gonna probably focus on the movies and stick to their gem shows right now with The Mandalorian, finish off Andor. Ahsoka's probably going to be their next gem show, right? So you got these 3 like heavy hitter shows, and then focus their resources towards the movies. I think it's probably a better move. And you can bring in Boba Fett or the characters from Boba Fett into Mandalorian or Ahsoka or whatever, because it's in the same universe, right? So I think it's smart. Like, if they end up coming back to it later on after a few years and whatever, but I think it's smart right now.
yeah.
So
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So yeah, I think that I think the reason we're not going to see Book of Boba Fett season 2 is because it's going to be rebranded. It's going to be called the Mods. Everybody's favorite Vespa scooters are going to be the feature, coming in, flying across the screen.
Mods.
We're going to
Oh my
have some
gosh.
street races on Tatooine, and getting into the lives of everybody's favorite characters. The Mods.
I bet you I bet you the creator behind these mods was Takai Waititi. Like the colors, it's like,
Yeah,
and
it is his style.
It's a secret show. It's going to be him directing the whole show.
Yeah,
and it's going to be full of colors. Like that's
everything's exploding with color, and they're like all their thermal detonators are going to be like Sabine, where it's like paint everywhere and stuff.
Oh my goodness. Please no.
So this is the movie that we're getting on.
This is what he's having trouble writing. Yes.
Yeah. This is it.
I don't know the middle part. I don't know the middle
Vespa.
part.
Just imagine the Vespa. It's gonna be like the movie poster.
Oh,
there's not enough color. I don't know what to do.
It blinds everybody. It's a rainbow. It's like.
Yeah. And in the background, there's Chrysanthemum just chilling.
Eating a big apple or something.
Maybe rolling his eyes while he's doing it.
Yeah. He's just shaking his head.
So stupid.
So yeah, that's my take on it.
Sounds good. Sounds like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to follow that up. So,
Oh man.
that being said, let's move on. All right. So, next story that came up was apparently this week they were talking to James Mangold, and they were getting some more information on his new movie, which is supposed to be the Dawn of the Jedi, and basically talking about how they're going to be pushing like way back into the universe, back to when the first Jedi wielded the Force, and really starting to get into the details of it. Just looking. Okay, so they go into some of this, and they were talking to Mangold, and let's see, it says here he said he had worked a bit on other projects, Lucasfilm, and understood much of what they were doing was looking forward. And his quote was, "Well, I've talked to Lucasfilm before, even worked a bit before on other projects, and I'm always interested in what's going on there. I have friends who work on other Star Wars projects, but I understood much of what they were doing was kind of continuing the saga forward. So when I mentioned to Kathy the idea that I had about going backwards, really far backwards, I was surprised that it excited her and the other wonderful people she works with at Lucasfilm." They also go in to talk about how let's see here, how the Force came to be known, understood, wielded, and harnessed. The person I read through this, the more excited I get for this movie.
Mm-hmm. This is a really exciting article.
And then it says here in a separate conversation, basically said it's basically going to be the birth of the Force. Where did it come from? How was it found? And who found it? And his quote was, "It's a chance to tell the entire story of its own, the birth of the Force. When I first talked to Kathy Kennedy about it, I just said, I just see this opening to make kind of Ben-Hur or Ten Commandments about the birth of the Force. The Force has become kind of a religious legend that spans through all these movies. But where did it come from? How was it found? Who found it? Who was the first Jedi? That's what I'm writing right now." So the more I read this, the more I want to hear more. So I mean, I know this is getting me excited for this movie. What do you guys think?
Mangold is all over the place.
Absolutely.
and I'm not like saying like he's like doesn't have a point to his thing. Like his name is like he's getting involved with this. He's in Indiana Jones. He's doing this. He's doing that. Like I think it's great. Like I think he makes great movies, and I like the aspect or the sort of like plot of it being back in the beginning. I think it says like 25,000 years, or is that what it said? 25,000 years. Wait, set 25,000 years before the beginning of A New Hope. Like that's nuts. Like what is it like cavemen? Like it's a long time. Like you know what I mean? Like that's a long time back. Like
It'd be funny if the scroll says like a really long time ago. You know?
It's on like a tablet, and it's like a tablet moving up, like a rock tablet. But yeah, no, like he's I would love it. Like I'm more excited for this one than I am Taika Waititi's. Like to be honest, like biblical epic. Inspiration from the classics of Ben-Hur, like that's like it's gonna be like chariot races of space and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, like I would be all for it, man. Like, and like I said, James Mangold, like he does great stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me that it would said what slated for December, still in that open slot of December 2028. I think it said at the end of that. So I mean, things could obviously change by then, right? But
and that's the funny part because I mean, they're still talking about a movie at the end of 2026 and 2027. So I'm thinking it's really going into one of those two slots.
Like two 2026 is it two 2026 movies, right? That's what they're saying. And
one
then
May,
one 2027
December,
and then one 2028. Like
they didn't even mention 2020. It's the scary part. We know of 3 movies
maybe.
now, and we have 3 dates slated: 2 in 2026, 1 in 2027, and it's like, well, we also know about Taika Waititi's movie, but we have no idea when that's coming up.
Could be another. Yeah, he's probably all caught up in his own head. Like, I mean,
right now it's probably tentatively set for 2037, but
yeah, right.
Yeah,
even further away than Avatar is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's exciting. Like I would love to see that. You know, the beginnings of everything. That'd be super cool. You know what I mean? Like, what do you guys think the beginning would be like? Like, how do you feel? Would it be like some random guy walking into a cave or something and just like, but then somebody would have to, yeah, it's just kind of weird, man. Like, does it just all of a sudden just like the Big Bang go like, oh, there it is, like there's the Force, and like, that's weird, man. It's so cool. And the lightsabers, like the first of a lightsaber, like imagine like the first build of a lightsaber, like what that would look like.
That's gonna
be sick. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like how primitive it'll be, right? Like, I mean, made out of stick.
Yeah, seeing the first Jedi fight with actual swords instead of.
Maybe right. Maybe that's where the Darksaber came from, or like that was like the tail end of what they used to look like. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's especially surprising because even if you go back to Knights of the Republic, which at this point is about as far back as we go into the war, even that's only what 5, maybe 6,000 years before.
Right. That's not even. Yeah.
So we haven't even. I mean, God, how much time is even being passed between that? Just
the fact that it says 25,000 years, like if you look into other like franchises, like let's go to like Star Trek, for instance. Sorry, I'm saying Star Trek word, but like they're so far in the future. But like if you take our time to their time, it's not 25,000 years, like, you know, and the advancements that they've done. So I mean, going back 25,000 years, like that's nuts, man. That's a long time back.
Yeah.
Anything where you go back 25,000. Who
right?
knows what was there then?
Right.
So
yeah,
like that's so
if you ask modern archaeologists, like they would say that man was, you know, primitive back then. But if you look at like newer evidence coming out, they do believe that there were extremely advanced civilizations back before we had the Ice Age and stuff. So that it's pretty interesting stuff. A little bit off topic, though. A little bit off topic.
but even then, I mean, I think it's still kind of almost. It still kind of almost makes a little bit of sense because even if you go into the Star Wars universe, who knows? I mean, 25,000 years in the past, maybe they had some of these technologies then.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That got covered up and destroyed in a great Jedi war of some kind, and it kind of forced them back to more primitive ways that took thousands of years to get back to.
Well, maybe they mimicked it, like you know, try to make it like a global event, like you know, the Ice Age and all that stuff that happened, and it just wiped everybody out. You know what I mean? Like it could have been something like that. Like they could have been very advanced, and they weren't able to predict this or whatever it is, and then they have to start over again, right? So
yeah,
could be anything.
There's a lot of potential for something like this. I mean, obviously they don't have to go in that direction, but just the
Yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah, I feel like the thing that's most exciting about this movie is just the there's no limits on the creativity, whereas like, when they're following the forward story, basically they have to keep it in line with what Star Wars is, but with this they can practically reinvent everything can have like
Right.
a totally different look. And yeah, like you said, it could be very primitive, it could be also not, because also too we're talking about like interplanetary, right? We're talking about like many planets, so it could be, maybe not even anything focusing on the planets that we know, like maybe Coruscant maybe isn't even a thing, you know what I mean? So it could
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
completely different planets and everything than what we're used to too. So yeah, lots of lots of very exciting things. The When I was reading that article though, the one quote where it's saying that he's focusing on a kind of origin story of how the Force came to be known, understood, wielded, and harnessed. Like just reading that, it's like, yeah, this is exciting. It's exciting. My theory though is it's gonna be like some kind of like man, like a human, or human-like alien or whatever, that is gonna notice a creature that can use the Force, and then somehow learn from that creature telepathically or whatever. That's my theory.
And that could be interesting too, because even if you go to the game Star Wars: The Old Republic, a little off topic, but they always talked about the original Sith, and they were a race of people. It wasn't just
Mm.
a religion. It was this race of people that had this ability that other people kind of took on. And even back then, this race of people, they believed they were pure the pure dark side wielders, as opposed to other humans and other species that were able to wield the dark side. I mean, you could even play it in that direction, especially if you start working. Because if you bring in the origins of the Jedi, kind of almost have to start playing into the origins of the Sith at the same time.
Mm.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's just so many possibilities.
Yeah. Also, too, something I thought of as we're talking about this is can't think of the exact name of it, but where there's like the son and the brother and the sister, and they're like the sort of the most extreme versions of the Force, like light,
I mean,
dark,
like the
and
daughter, the
yeah, the
Yeah,
daughter, the son, and the father.
yeah, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
the more
Yeah, but yeah,
descendant.
that's supposed to be like a super ancient
the
like
more, yeah,
planet that's like a whatever, a force entity, so to speak.
And
So
I would love to see some of that play into
hmm hmm yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Because like if they're discovering the force, maybe it is some kind of intervention from some like otherworldly extreme
well, it could be,
source.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
some cosmic power.
yeah.
it. Okay,
It's exciting.
yeah. All right, I think I'm gonna stop us there because we can talk for another 2 hours on its own. um,
Yeah.
but I want to bring us to our next topic, which um was kind of a surprise this week.
Yep.
Sunday, they had the Xbox showcase, and they were showing off new video games for the Xbox. And I remember I sat there and I was excited because they have a new game coming out this year called Starfield, and it was like, I'm looking forward to seeing stuff on that. So remember, I got up, I went, grabbed a drink, sat down, and they did their first preview, and it was something I wasn't overly interested in. And then suddenly they start playing a trailer for their second trailer, and I know where I'm looking, and suddenly there's a TIE fighter. I'm like, wait a minute, there's a Star Wars announcement? What is this? And they start going into the new game that was announced called Star Wars Outlaws. And this is the open world game that Ubisoft has announced. And I know we've talked about it, but I also said, I remember saying something to the effect of this was a game that wasn't supposed to be out until 2025, 2026. And here, not only did we get an announcement for sometime towards the middle of next year, because they pushed another game back, an Avatar game, even. What we saw looked good. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much you guys have watched of it. I assume you've at least seen the trailer, if nothing else. But what did you guys think of this trailer?
You go, Swamp.
All right. Yeah, it looks amazing. Like visually stunning. Like just really, really well done. Looks really amazing, and it kind of reminds me of the Fallen Order series, like the recent release of Jedi Survivor. Kind of that style of gameplay to some degree, maybe a little different, but like yeah, definitely very visually like on point, and yeah, it just looks sounds like a really cool story too. In the trailer I noticed too, one of the Empire characters that it showed kind of looks like that girl from the Mandalorian. I don't know if you guys noticed that, the one that was like under Moff Gideon.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. I don't
I
know her
can't think of
name.
what her name is. Yeah, but it
But
kind of looked like that girl. I was like, oh, I wonder if this is kind of,
What, the double agent girl?
yeah.
I don't
yeah,
remember her
But
name.
it shows her she only has like four little squares on her thing, so this could be when she's like, a young new officer or something like that.
yeah.
So, do we know specifically what time era this is? Like how?
It's set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
I was
yeah,
gonna
it says
say
it right,
that
it says it right there.
yeah, the Empire is
Okay.
definitely
Read
in
it.
effect during that time. Yeah.
Duh. Okay. Good. Okay. Man, yeah, I was not expecting a Star Wars game trailer to pop out, to be honest. When I saw it started popping up on social media, I'm like, what is going on? And then you're like, wow, okay. And then you remember back, you're like, man, there was that open world. Is this the open world Star Wars game? So the trailer was super cool. I'm pretty sure, now correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure we saw Kyle Katarn in there. Was Kyle there
I did
on the ship? No,
No, that wasn't Kyle Katarn.
it was not Kyle. He looked like Kyle Katarn.
Maybe it's their new version of Kyle Katarn.
I don't know, man, but there was some people were like really looking at what the guy was wearing on that ship when he was sitting there beside the commando, and he had the same getup as Kyle had, like the same stuff. I think it was just on the wrong side. So whatever pauldron he had, like I don't know. Anyway,
Now I gotta watch it again
Yeah.
and check that out.
But there's some comparisons. I started seeing it like the day after it came out or whatever. But they were really trying to. I can't remember what she said though. Like I'm pretty sure she said a name when she came onto the ship and saw him. But I don't remember what the name was.
I actually just did watch the trailer before we started today. I'm pretty sure she says Galen is the name.
Galen?
She says, "Get out of my seat, Galen," or something like that.
I don't know.
Or what are you doing
I don't
here,
know.
Galen? I could be wrong.
I don't know. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's just a thing that I saw. But like a commando droid in a trench coat. Like, come on! Like this is crazy. It's so
that's
cool.
probably one of my new favorite characters.
Like
it's
literally,
so cool.
like, and I'm sure he's got that, the banter with this character back and forth, just like K2 had with or anybody in Rogue One, right? So, I don't know, man. Like another, like one side of me is going, oh man, another Star Wars game, and then the other side of me is going, oh, another Star Wars game I gotta buy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Like I still haven't played the other ones yet, and I'm gonna have to buy this one and just keep it. Oh man, but yeah. So there was the trailer that dropped, and then the 10-minute gameplay that they aired. I think a couple days later. I believe. I don't know the actual thing, but
it was Monday they came out.
yeah. So then I watched that, and yeah, like it looks super cool. Like and it has that sort of thing where it gives you choices to choose what you want to do and whatnot, which is super cool. Like it has that sort of similar Mass Effect sort of feel to it. You know what I mean? Like with the choosing of stuff.
Choose your path.
Choose your path, right? Because in one of the things it was like you had 3 options: send the little creature thing to do something, or you can, shoot this or whatever it was. So it'd be
that's
cool
kind
to
of
like,
where I was saying it kind of seems like Jedi Survivor, where it's like you're doing a puzzle, but it's like also combat and all that kind of stuff involved. So yeah, seems very interesting.
yeah, it's exciting. I'm not going to probably play it right away because that's probably going to cost like $800 to play or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but well, it's true though. Like to me these games like Survivor just came out, so it's probably $100 game. To me, $100 is like $400. Like it's a lot of money. Like. So, but it's cool. Like it seems like it's going to explore a little bit of the, like it says, the underworld, the scoundrel underworld. Like it seems like with remnants of the Empire intertwined, and I don't know. It'd be cool to see what other kind of characters pop up in it. Maybe we'll see like because it is between Empire and Jedi, so maybe we'll see a character we know. You know what I mean?
Well, they haven't mentioned anything about Jedi at this point. But they do mention the Empire. They do mention the criminal underworld.
But that'd be cool though too. That'd be cool. Oh yeah, Syndicate for sure. It's huge Syndicate, like right.
Yeah, well, I feel like we'll definitely be seeing some scoundrels that we know, including probably Jabba.
But I'd be okay if I didn't see a Jedi. I'd be all right. I think.
I mean, I think we could see the Pike Syndicate. I'd be upset if we didn't see Black Sun.
Yeah.
Even Crimson Dawn was still running around at that point.
Yep.
So not only Crimson Dawn, I mean Maul is dead, but Kira's in control of Crimson Dawn at this point.
This could be a cool segue from Solo, right? This could be the Solo 2, right? Like she could be in this.
And
yeah, the Pike Syndicate, I can confirm, is 100% in it. It shows it.
Yeah, we know.
It shows it. Was that on the gameplay trailer or the other one? I can't remember.
It was on the official trailer.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
But the one thing that I did notice when they were going through, they were talking about one of the guys that they brought on to help writing, and he was actually one of the guys that was on the original. I don't know if you guys remember the old Star Wars 1313 game, which was supposed to come out, which got canceled right before Disney bought out Star Wars. And it was meant to be based in the criminal underworld. It was supposed to be based more on Coruscant. And it was... And this guy,
I do remember that. Now that you say that, I do actually remember that. It was like all really like neon kind of look to it.
Yeah. And he was this guy was one of the writers for that game. And they actually brought him in because of his knowledge of all syndicates for this game. So I'm hoping that that'll carry over and we get a really good depiction of the criminal underworld because of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they got something good here for sure. Where it leads, who knows? Like maybe it's like a platform where they can add stuff to, and they don't have to do like Star Wars Outlaws 2. You know what I mean? Like keep it like, if it's an open world, keep it keep the platform, keep this platform, just add to it. I find a lot of times that the games don't add, they just make a second game or make a third game. Like it's just keep the platform, develop, update it, upgrade it from that, do your patches, whatever, but like add more material to it, more stories, sort of like what Old Republic does, right? They just keep adding stories to
that
it,
one
right?
always
So,
confuses me because, like, as far as I know, that game is like not supported, but then there's always updates with new, like, cosmetics that you can buy and new events even and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of confusing to me. It's like, to me, that kind of is support to some degree. Like somebody's working on that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. But I mean, like, obviously this is early stages for us. I mean, obviously the game may still have some, a lot of stuff to work on or whatever it is, and this is just a first look at it, or we don't know how much of the game is done, or you know what I mean. So there could be lots of stuff, but it looks promising for sure.
Well, they've said they're pretty confident about how much is done. Just number one, this is way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
but also they're talking about they pushed back an Avatar game that was supposed to come out at that same time instead, and put this into its spot. So I'm hoping that means good news.
Right. Hopefully.
Well, releasing in 2024. So yeah, I mean, let's just hope it's from here on. Then they're just fine tuning it, and it's good to drop. Early 2024. That'd be great.
Yeah, hopefully it's not a thing like Jedi Survivor where they're like, just kidding, it's gonna be another month. Keep waiting.
But they like playing with us like that, though. They like that. They're doing that for everything. We'll just push it. We'll just push it all. Just push it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bear with me a second.
Oh yeah, also we do too have those other one or two other games that are also supposed to be somewhat of an open world that are also coming out too. So it'll be interesting to see, multiple Star Wars online games existing at the same time. That would be pretty neat.
Online stuff for sure. I mean, there's been a lot of I remember back, there's been a lot of Star Wars games released back in the day. It's just nice to see getting a game after game after game again. They're starting to release those again. I know nowadays it's a lot more stuff that goes into these games, obviously, but it's just nice to see things are coming back around. Same with the movies. The movies are coming back out. That's gonna be cool to see movies in the theater again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
All right. So that being said, I don't know if you guys noticed.
So you added something. Yeah.
Yes, because it was something I forgot to add. But going off of the good news of Outlaws, unfortunately, we also have to have a little bit of sad news that Electronic Arts is basically giving up, and Electronic Arts and BioWare are basically giving up Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's being moved over to another gaming company called Broadsword Online, I believe.
Broadsword, yeah.
And basically, they're taking over the development of the game. The one thing they were saying is probably about half of the team that is currently working on the game is going to go over to Broadsword with the game itself to keep pushing content out. They say that they still have a good amount of content for the game, and they don't intend on the game really just going to its final resting place, so to speak. I have my opinions on that. We'll get into those in a minute. That being said, what they're doing, what BioWare's plan is, they want to get back to pushing their efforts into their games Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and they feel they need as many people as they can in order to do that. So they're starting to pull most of their team back, and Star Wars: The Old Republic is just kind of in the way now after 12 years. It still surprised me that The Old Republic 12 years.
Yeah.
But
Pretty crazy, yeah.
yeah, but that being said, I don't know when the final move is supposed to happen, but yeah, they're moving over to Broadsword Online. Any thoughts before I get into what I have to say, or
Yeah, I noticed in the article there it says last year they lost their creative director Charles Boyd, who was there for 16 years.
yeah,
That's a huge project for sure for some
Yep.
director like that to stay with it. But yeah, I think probably this transfer to this new company, probably they don't want to invest a lot of resources into it. Is my guess, like the new the new company, because like they're taking on a game that they know it's ceiling, so they kind of, I don't know, I think they probably will just try to coast along and see if they can keep it going the way it is, I imagine.
Um, I never got so with this game for 12 years, I wasn't able to play this game, to be honest. So I've never really gotten into this myself because I never had a good computer enough to play it, because it's a lot. It's quite
It is.
the thing, right? And I remember downloading it once, and I tried to play it, and it just like froze everything. So it's like, well, I'm not playing this game.
Yeah, I only
Um,
recently started playing it for that same reason.
yeah.
Same thing.
But I mean, I kind of feel bad for, because half the creative team is going with them, and like what's roughly, uh, so half is going to Broadsword, and half is staying with EA. Is that what
half a
it's
saying
saying?
BioWare.
BioWare,
They're
yeah.
gonna be put back.
They're gonna push okay.
onto Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
I mean, it might lighten the load. Like, I don't know how
It
big
says
this.
more than half. More than half.
Oh, okay, all right. I mean, I don't know how big this Broadsword company is. Like
Yeah,
how.
I've never heard of them.
I've never heard of them either. So, but I mean, it could be good. It could be bad. Like when there's change, especially with a game like this, like 12 years pushing out this content with, it could be bad. Like, I don't know. Like, but I'm sure Eldor is going to tell us his thoughts on this. Take it away, Eldor.
Okay, so where to start? I played that game on day one. I was into that game. I put a lot of my time into it. I loved um there was a point where, and I kind of sat through the really good of that game. I've sat through the really bad of that game. And eventually, a few years ago, I had to walk away from the game. It was just not making me happy anymore. That being said, I do kind of I feel a little sad for the game today, as I heard that news. Um, First thing I did was I went to go take a look at who Broadsword Online is. And basically the two games of note that they carry are Ultima Online, which I believe was quite possibly the
What is
and
it called? Sorry.
Ultima Online.
Ultima Online. Yeah, I think you're right. That is one of the very early ones, if not the first.
Yeah, and the other one they currently carry is called Dark Age of Kings.
I have heard of that. Yeah, that is
Um,
also an older game too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing I noticed with those two games is from when they basically came on the scene to Broadsword, they haven't been. They basically just sit there, and those that play it are basically playing what is basically the last version you're ever going to get of that game. no talk of new content. No new content has come out for either of those games 5+ years. So just to hear there's new Ultima Online content would be a massive revelation at this
Hmm.
point.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That being said, I'm happy to see that some of the team is going over there with the game, but I have a feeling that what that means is there's a little bit of content that they had left, a little bit of story that they had left, and they want to make sure that they at least get that story finished out. Because I feel like once that story is released, which will probably be within the next year or two, I have a feeling all those people are going to go. And then basically Star Wars Your Swan Song. And it'll be available, but you're not going to ever see anything to that game again, which I feel is unfortunate. Because, like I
Yeah,
said, it's a game I loved. It's a game I played a lot of. I had to walk away from it, but it still holds a place in my heart as far as games I've played in my life. Um, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I met a lot of friends through that game. A lot of friends I still have today. Even some of the people that I've streamed with. I mean, we've gone back into that game and we've played around and we've messed around in it for a while, and it's just a good time.
yeah. It
And
seems to have a really great community. Like I said, I only got into it recently, and just streaming a few times, the coolest people would come out, and they're telling me everything. They're giving me free. They're like, "Hey, meet me at the shoot, I can't even think of what it's called, but they would meet me there and give me a bunch of lightsabers and stuff." I'm like, damn, this is cool. What
yeah,
a cool community, you know?
yeah, and there's a lot of great people still in the community. Um, I'll I'll look at some of the people that I followed on Twitter back then, and they're still on, and some of them are still as enthusiastic about the game today as they ever were, and I'm happy for them. And I hope that this game can still bring them something while it still can. I hate to sound so pessimistic towards the future of this game, but it really does feel like Broadsword is where games die.
Yeah,
And
and also like if that's the case, like you're not wrong to be pessimistic because it generally from what I've seen when that happens to a game when it kind of gets shelved like that is eventually there's some kind of like major bug that just after that it just doesn't work anymore and it's
yeah, and they don't get fixed, they don't get touched, and eventually it's just not there anymore.
yeah.
And that's unfortunate. Like I said, I do think there will be a little more content, just because I think that's the reason half the team went over, because they want to make sure that that little bit gets implemented at some point. But I do feel for those people too, because I have a feeling they're going to be out of a job after a year. So
I just wonder. I wonder, like, how does a how does a company like uh what was it again? Broadsword.
yeah,
Broadsword. How does a company like you name those two games like old old ass games, right?
Mhm.
How does a company afford to get this game from EA? You know what I mean? Like, where's the money coming from? Like,
I would say
I don't
the
understand. Like
I would
doesn't
say
sound like they make a
the
lot of money in this company. Like,
yeah, I would say the loss of that creative director though probably did drive down the value of the actual game itself. Like they probably got it at a fairly reasonably low price, I would imagine, just because of the age and losing the creative director and just the state of it.
I do think the age plays into it.
do you foresee this like how much more like let's say this doesn't happen, okay? How much more content do you see coming out of this game? You know what
Well,
I mean?
they
Like they've already done a lot.
well the one thing they did announce when this happened was there is an update coming out soon,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
There was
they
a
just released an expansion.
Right.
Yeah, I was
Right.
gonna say there was just an update like I don't know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago that was had a whole bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah, and they announced So I do believe they still have some content stuff that they had in the pipeline before they caught word of this. I so I don't know if it's as much as a future expansion or anything, but almost like we're going to at least play this expansion out.
Right.
So if there was 5 more updates for this expansion, they're at least in a position where they can get that finished.
They want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
once that's done, it's done.
You know how
But
earlier, Andy, when we were talking about Outlaws, you were saying you were hoping they don't just do like Outlaws 2, Outlaws 3,
Right.
just keep expanding on what it is.
Yep.
Something I was thinking about with that is Final Fantasy 11 was one of the really early MMORPGs, and it had pretty massive popularity. And they tried to keep it going for a really long time, but eventually the technology changed so much that there's just a much easier way to do it, and that's when they came out with Final Fantasy 13, and then from there that became, the new big Final Fantasy online world. So
Like I see they can do it. Like I mean, like if you look at off topic Grand Theft Auto 5, right? It's been out for a while, like a long time. It's pretty, you can do a bunch of crap in that game, like it,
Mhm,
and they kept
mhm.
it going with patches and blah blah blah. But they're coming out with Grand Theft Auto 6, I think, soon or something like that. But it's been a nice stretch in between,
Mhm. Where it's kept
where
going,
it,
it does have a
yeah.
big popularity
Yeah,
still.
and I mean, obviously, in the new one, they're add newer stuff, newer technology, whatever. So I can see. I wouldn't be, that wouldn't bother me. Like if they did something like that, maybe. Um, but I just wouldn't want to see. I don't know. It's just me. I just wouldn't want to see like, especially if it's like we don't know how open this game is going to be either. Like I have no
Yeah,
idea. Like
that's
it could
true.
be
It's hard.
just. It's hard to
Yeah, from
say,
that
right?
gameplay, I'm like, are you sure this is open world? Like you're
Right.
doing a puzzle here. I'm like, I don't know.
Like I can maybe see that being open world, because when she's on the speeder and she's speeding in the desert or whatever she's doing. So maybe the open world is in, out in the desert, or when you're going into the city or whatnot. Maybe when you're in the building or doing your tasks, it's not as open, but
Yeah,
um
that would be very similar to the Old Republic because yeah, you kind of once you start whatever a campaign event, you're kind of in a different version of the world. Even like if you are playing multiplayer, those people like don't get to join you unless they're the same class and stuff. So
right. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
at the end of the day, the one thing with Ubisoft is the company that's really behind it is massive, which is one
Right.
of their divisions.
Yeah.
The main game that they're known for coming out with is The Division, and that was supposed to be a
Right.
pretty big open world game that was actually well received by a lot of people. So they know how to make an open world game. So I don't. If they say it's open world, I kind of believe it is open world.
I
How
feel
they
it
get
is
to that
too. Yeah.
how they
Yeah,
get to that
exactly.
point is another story.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, something I noticed in the gameplay trailer too, there's a part where they're in space, she's in the ship and fighting off some TIE fighters and stuff. And then it almost seems like they're like even though it's like playing a cutscene where she's like what's it called? Hyperspace jumping out of there, it still seems like you're actually in control of the ship at that time. So I'm like, okay, that does lend to the idea of open world that maybe you can actually take this ship and just fly it around all willy nilly.
Willy nilly.
Yeah.
Let's hope we can fly willy nilly.
Yeah. That's the best kind of flying.
Yeah.
Just put it out there, willy nilly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the last thing I want to throw out there before I shelve this thing is even though I do have my feelings about the Old Republic and where it stands and how I think this is probably the end for them, um, I do believe it's also going to set us up for potential new that's going to come out. Who's going to make it? I don't know, but I have a feeling my current opinion is we are going to probably hear an announcement for a new MMO next 3 to 4, 2 to 3 years, I'll say. And I think it's going to be based somewhere in the hybrid.
Yeah, well, didn't we have a thing that's like a long time ago, like a thing about High Republic MMO or something?
It was just a game.
Oh yeah, it
Um,
wasn't. There's no details about it. It was just
yeah, it's just a trailer.
imagery. Yeah, yeah.
It was a game called Eclipse. It
Eclipse,
is
right?
supposed to be based on the
Mhm.
High Republic, which is the 1,000 year period before New Hope, before we get to Phantom Menace, and
Back when Yoda was a young lad.
yes, because we believe Yoda was in that trailer,
Yeah, he's in the books for sure.
but I would figure if there's anywhere they would go now to bring in an MMO, it's going to be there because it's a time period that they're really focusing heavy on.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Also, too, because we don't know a lot of the story from that. Like generally people don't. I should say some people do. But yeah, that gives them a lot of space for creativity where they can, really do a lot with an open world. I would say.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'll say that's not. I know I got a little long winded there, but I don't know. I was very passionate about that game.
Hey, we enjoy hearing your opinion on it because yeah, you are the guy who played it the most, and yeah, it's good to hear what you think about it.
But that being said, why don't we move on? Um, that pretty much covered the news, which covered a lot more time than usual. um,
There's always a lot of news within 2 weeks, man. Like it
yeah,
seems like it's sprouting up more and more, right?
but,
And
but
that's all
that's
right
good. That's
too,
good
because
though.
right
That's
now
keeping
news
us
is
going. Yeah, it's keeping our.
news is kind of
Yeah.
our main thing right now. So
It's our main thing now, but we also have this wonderful thing coming out in about a month and a half called the Ahsoka show. And we had said that we were going to do a little preparation for this week. As far as letting people know what they might want to look into, watch, or read going into the series that might help them out going into it. So start.
I do have a little short list here of stuff.
Okay.
I'm gonna go into that. All right. So I think what is this? Just Clone Wars. Okay, so this is just a Clone Wars specific list here. We got season 1, episode 9. This is kind of where Ahsoka first teams up with Luminara and see kind of that development of that. So that's one thing to check out for sure. And then season 3, episode 22, Wookiee Hunt. It's kind of the final part of a series about Ahsoka being kidnapped by Ventress, I believe. Uh, yeah, important stuff happens there with character development of her. And then season 2, episode 11 is a really important one for Ahsoka's story as well, and one that I actually just watched the other day. Storm over Ryloth, season 1, episode 19. This is the first mission where she's a commander, so she's actually in charge of Anakin's fleet while he's off being a crazy lad. And yeah, really great episode as far as her going from like a kid to now a commander of the Republic Army and stuff. So pretty important one there. And
Okay.
season 3, episode 6. Um, actually, not sure about this one exactly what happens in it, but yeah, that's on the list here. and season 3, episode 7, and season 5, episode 9, season 5, episode 5, and season 2, episode 8, which is also, I think, another one with Barris involved. But yeah, that's the list that I have here. Oh wait, sorry, there's actually a couple more. Shoot.
Well,
Just
It's
keep popping
actually
up.
longer. It's actually longer than I thought it was.
well, while you're doing that, season 3, episode 6. For what I'm looking at here, it says, let's see, episode is called The Academy. It says Ahsoka Tano was assigned to teach a class on.
Oh yeah.
Trying to remember the details of that episode, but it was a big part of her character development. And then you said episode 7 as well.
Yeah.
And that's an episode called Assassin, and the tagline for it is Ahsoka Tano has visions of Padme Amidala being assassinated. And
Yeah, and I think the two of them kind of team up and have a little character development with one another in that episode, if I recall correctly.
yeah, I think that played importantly into their friendship as well.
And then, yeah, the next one, Necessary Bond, is season 5, episode 9. So yeah, this is kind of the conclusion of the youngling arc, it says. So this is kind of when she starts going into, being more towards the, they're starting to consider her as their equals, the other Jedi, and you know what goes on from there is to be seen in those episodes. Season 5, episode 9. I think season 5, episode. What's the other one that it shows here?
I mean, there's a couple things I want to point out about that one. It also has our favorite Wookiee Jedi from the Bad Batch, Gunji.
Oh yeah.
and
True.
and it also does have the droid Huyang, who is actually going to be in the Ahsoka series as well.
Nice. Yeah, then we got Tipping Point, season 5, episode 5. Um, the Hold on. Oh yeah. It shows Ahsoka teaming up with some sort of rebels against the Separatists on their planet and stuff. Yeah, she I think somebody that she's like trying to help dies, and then that affects her quite a bit in this episode, so kind of a important thing for her character arc. Probably where she starts kind of like thinking about not being a Jedi.
I can. That was. I can't remember her name. Actually, the sister of Saga.
Oh yeah. Stila.
Yes, that's it.
So yeah, that definitely affects her and changes a lot of how how her character develops from that point on, for sure.
Changes a lot of people. It changed Saga too, because
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a tipping point or a fork in the road.
Yeah. Then we got Brain Invaders, season 2, episode 8. Uh, while returning on a successful mission from Geonosis, a clone trooper is infected by a mind-altering parasite, which brings aboard the effects to other troopers. Ahsoka and Barris try to avoid the infected. They split up. Barris gets infected herself, and yeah, I think this is kind of Ahsoka, really showing her guts and stuff. She she saves them while risking herself. So it's like, kind of self-sacrifice episode, to some degree.
Okay.
Then we got season 4, episode 14, A Friend in Need. Uh, oh yeah, this is on Mandalore. Yeah, I think it definitely involves the Death Watch here. Lux Bonteri from the Death Watch avenging his mother. Looks like he's fighting Ahsoka using the dark saber here. Or no, that must be Pre Vizsla. Oh yeah, so
Okay.
basically this is kind of where we learn that Ahsoka is that good that she can actually hold her own against Mandalorians. So it's good important thing there. Then we got Altar of Mortis, season 3, episode 16. Think is Mortis the thing that I was talking about before with the brother, the son, and the
And the daughter, yep.
Yes.
daughter? Yeah, I think so. So yeah,
The only thing I would say is if you're going to include 16, I would say you probably want the whole arc, which is actually
yeah,
episodes 15 through 17.
15 through 17. Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking. As soon as I seen that, it said something about the Mortis arc. I'm like, you gotta kind of see all of that, really.
Yeah, it answers a lot of questions about Ahsoka Tano's character. Um, why she's always followed by this little owl as time goes on.
And it says here you get to see how much care there is between Anakin and Ahsoka as the two duel. So yeah, definitely a very important episode on number 16 there as far as relationship between those two.
You guys keep going. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. All right. But yeah, this is where she gets corrupted by the sun, so we get to see like dark side Ahsoka essentially. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did our faces just move around? Yeah, they did, eh? When Andy took off.
I don't think it's that.
uh, Dang. Yeah, maybe when he comes back,
Yeah, I can fix it
I'll
when he gets
switch
back.
back around. uh, so yeah, you're right. I don't have details here about 15 and 17, but you're right. It probably would make a lot of sense to watch that whole arc, the Mortis arc. Then we got
um,
sorry, go ahead.
as I say, I know there's a couple episodes I'm seeing as here as well.
Yeah, I think I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 more left on my list here.
Go for it.
Okay, so season 5, episode 20. Um, this is where she's wrongfully accused of staging an attack on the Jedi Temple and kind of starts seeing the Jedi in a different light. Very impactful episode there. And yeah, and then the next 3 are all from season 7, the final season of the Clone Wars. Um, season 7, episode 9, Old Friends Not Forgotten. I think this is where she's uh Oh yeah. This is where she's reunited with Anakin and the clone troopers, and yeah,
Also,
yeah,
well, as Anakin
and-
Skywalker.
yeah. Other than like when they kind of sense each other, like when they're on opposite ships or whatever, two different ships or something like that. And then season 7, episode 10, which is I think the one after. Yeah, the one after that. Her first confrontation with Maul, and yeah, I don't know. The next one after that is basically it's those 4 episodes, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and yeah, I don't really want to get too much into it in case people haven't seen those. Basically, it's just really important for the uh, character de- char- character development of that character for sure, Ahsoka.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also with Maul too, like the whole thing. So, all right, our faces are back in the same spot. We're good.
Sorry.
Yeah, when you left, it switched.
Did you guys touch on Rebels?
No, we're
No,
still
I
going
just
through.
finished. I was just finished up my list with the Clone Wars stuff there.
Okay.
But I know Eldor also said he has some episodes to add.
I think there was one or two I still want. And there was season 2, episodes 1 and 2, which was the first time we actually saw Cad Bane. It was the one
Yeah,
time. It was the one
it's really
time.
good.
It it was before Ahsoka really became. Back when she was still very young, very cocky, before she really had her comeuppance, so to speak, and she thought she could take down Cad Bane on her own without a problem, and learned very quickly, no, she cannot, and unfortunately, she she failed, and because of that, Cad Bane was able to get away with a Jedi holocron. Um, and I remember that one sticks out because you kind of see her at her lowest before she started to turn things around, started to really fall in line with her teaching, and just yeah.
Yeah, I think that's more to episode 2 rather than 1 because episode 1 is actually the last episode I watched. So I know she's actually not in it. She's it's the one. It is kind of the first thing with Cad Bane, but it's where he and Aura Singh and a couple other scoundrels, or I think it might be just droids with them. They break into the High
Jedi Temple.
Council, yeah, High Council on Coruscant, and they kidnap the senators, and they um, on the condition they want Zero Hutt's release from the whatever the Republic jails. So
I thought young Boba Fett was there too, part of that
mm,
group.
I don't think so yet. I don't think so
No.
yet
Okay.
because I think it's just Aura Singh, two droids. One of them might be IG-88, I think, and then yeah. Oh no. Also, too, there's that little tiny purple guy. I can never remember his name, but he's like a tech guy, tech bounty hunter
I don't
dude.
remember. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
his name is not memorable.
No.
the only other one that hits me though is I'm not sure if you said from season 3, the last 2 episodes of that season, 21 and 22.
Uh, it's yeah. That was the Wookiee hunt, and what was the other one called? I don't know
Padawan
if I actually
versus.
have. Yeah, I don't know if I have 21 on here, but yeah, 22.
Well, I know 21 was the first. Episode 21 was the first part of that where
Is it, set?
where they were captured and where they and then it led into 22 where they finally came together, were able to save themselves. But it was the first time I remember Ahsoka didn't have any weapons on her. They were getting chased down by Trandoshans, and even the one big thing at the end of that episode when she does finally meet up with Anakin again, she's like, "Without your teachings, I could have never made it." and they were. It was kind of one of those times where you started to see her humble a little bit, and it's one of those moments where you start to see her character actually turn around.
Yeah, it's funny. It seems like she gets humbled a bunch of times, but it never actually turns her around until a certain amount of times. Then eventually she snaps into it.
Yeah, but every time
Snaps.
you could see
Snips.
a little bit
Snips.
more and a little bit more, and yeah, eventually she becomes the great character that we know.
Yeah, because even like as we're introduced to her in the movie, the Clone Wars animated movie, she's like super cocky, and then Anakin kind of leaves her in a situation where she's screwed, and then she you know, she's like, "Master, help me!" And then he's like, "Oh, so you do need my help, eh?" Yeah, so kind of a you know kind of one of those things where she does get humbled a bunch of times, but it never quite sticks until probably these episodes that you're talking about, 21 and 22 of season 3.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's actually pretty comprehensive. Yeah, I think that was actually.
Oh, cool, cool.
Cool, 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 cool. Cool, 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 cool.
Andy, I know you've got a list of stuff that you want to talk
So
about.
so you guys covered obviously Clone Wars, so I'll run through the list of the Rebels ones as well, because there's a few key ones in the Rebels that are probably worth watching or worth mentioning. Some of these episodes, there's like mentions of or a voice that she's in, but you hear her voice, but maybe I won't probably name those ones, but she becomes a series regular in season 2. So quite a bit of the episodes in season 2 she's in. Mainly the major one, the major ones at the end, Twilight of the Apprentice. The big fight between her and Darth Vader, and they're on, they find that Sith temple and all that stuff. Those 2
Super
episodes are really
huge.
good, super huge, yeah, super big. And I remember when that episode finished, and then I can't remember if it was the same year that like Star Wars Celebration was happening or whatever it was, and there was a lot of things going around. Is Ahsoka alive? Is she dead? Is she alive? What's going on? Like, right? And I remember the T-shirts
Is she an owl?
that is she an owl now? Like, but I remember like the T-shirts that Filoni was like floating around. Like he had like Ahsoka lives with like the question mark on it and like all this stuff, right? But anyways, it was a big thing. But really good episodes. Those were good ones. I know a lot of these go into the synopsis, but I think I'm just going to lay the list. Like season 2, you got episode 1 and 2, The Siege of Lothal. Episode 3, The Lost Commanders. Episode 4, The Relics of the Old Republic. Episode 5 and 9, it's like a mentioned only and indirect mention, so it's not really, I'm not sure how much of a big deal it is. But episode 10, The Future of the Force. Episode 18, Shroud of Darkness. Episode 20, The Mystery of Chopper Base. And then season 3, there's just a couple mentions. It's not really big. I think season 4 is the huge like key one, I think, for Rebels. Obviously, like the World Between Worlds seems to be a big factor in this show, in the Ahsoka show. So episode 13, A World Between Worlds, is the title of the episode. So I think it's a pretty big one.
Is that where we first see them walking on the the whatever it is, the platform thing.
Well, that's that that platform, whatever it is, and then where Ezra pulls Ahsoka into the world into the world, kind of like saving her life, really. Like,
Yeah.
so like pretty much stating that, or confirming that in season 2 that Vader probably killed her, but this world between worlds thing Ezra found and saved her life, and obviously changed things from that point on too, right? Like,
Change the timeline of history.
Changed history, man. Like, yeah, like that was a key, like a really big one. So I would definitely watch that one for sure. And yeah, 15, 16, family reunion, farewell, all that stuff. So like, I'm not going to get too much into it. Like, it's, the list is there. If you guys haven't seen these shows, and you do plan on watching Ahsoka, and I feel like even if you don't watch this stuff, I mean, Ahsoka is still going to be a great show, but I think watching these episodes from Clone Wars and Rebels, it's definitely going to give you a little bit more insight on what's going on and how she is, all this stuff, right? So,
I hope that somebody, like, if they see our podcast and they haven't, delved into the world of the cartoons, as many Star Wars fans haven't, I hope this, kind of gives them a way to, pinpoint those important story notes that are really going to enhance their viewing pleasure of Ahsoka.
Absolutely.
Like, I think, like, especially the world, like, to me, the World Between Worlds episode, I think, like, if you're going into Ahsoka and like you see this World Between Worlds stuff, you'd be like, unless they say something, maybe something's brought up, on how or what or how Ezra found it, or we don't even know how far in the episodes Ezra's going to be. You know what I mean? So, I
Even
think
the way they write it might not want some casual viewers to not understand the World Between Worlds, just
right.
so that us hardcores know about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that episode is probably a big one. That'll probably introduce you to the World Between Worlds sort of aspect that they're going to be playing on in the show. But yeah, I think some of these would be probably beneficial to some people to watch for sure.
Okay, so I think I'll throw one or two other things in.
Do it.
If you haven't watched Tales of the Jedi, I would highly
recommend
episodes 5 and 6.
I was thinking of that earlier, and I just forgot.
Obviously, just more building of her character, and some very interesting things to point out as you go through. I would also check out season 2, episode 4 of The Mandalorian, which was actually episode 5, which is chapter 13, The Jedi, where she's reintroduced into our world. We know she's still alive at this point, and we find out that she's going after Thrawn.
She's on the hunt.
Yeah.
And she tells us Grogu's name. Yes. Or maybe that was the other one where they're hanging out together.
Can't remember. That's where I think where they're in the forest. So in the forest where she's trying to train him, I think.
Because I can't remember if it's like at first and she's like, "Kid, his name is Grogu."
His name is Grogu.
Oh.
Oh.
And then he's just like, Grogu, and then he looks at him. It was a good moment.
And even in a situation where it's not as important, but I would still watch it just because you could watch episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett, which was The Return of the Mandalorian. It's just a nice little treat episode for those that are fans of the Ahsoka character. You get to see her there. She also you also learn that she actually does know Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fun little episode to add. I don't think not sure if it'll bring anything to the Ahsoka story, but just a little something. And then more importantly, where everybody is talking about Ahsoka, I want to get into Grand Admiral Thrawn, and I think for those that haven't cared for who this villain is going to be, there are definite episodes throughout Rebels through seasons 3 and 4 that you could definitely check out, give you more insight to who Grand Admiral Thrawn is. But also there's about 6 novels out written by Timothy Zahn. They're all canon. The first one is actually Star Wars Thrawn. Excellent novel. You start to not only get an idea of Thrawn himself, but the people that were around him in his world. Because I know some of these characters are going to pop up as we start to go into this series. Even if you go into the second to last episode of final of this last season of Mandalorian, we saw one of those characters in Captain Paleon, who is supposed to be one of his right hand men. And then what were the other ones? There was Thrawn Alliances, Thrawn Treason. There's the other, I don't remember all the exact titles for the second set of 3, but it's known as the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy. But if you get your hands on any of those books, you're able to read them before this, you'll get a good vision into this villain that we're about to face as we get into this hopefully great Ahsoka series.
Yeah, and that's a character you want to know. He's a very, very cool character. Very cool.
And he's played by the same actor.
Yeah,
in both the live action and. So
But
it's gonna be pretty cool. No, you don't. Well, they just started doing it, right? It seems to be working so far. So I feel like as they keep going forward, they might continue to get that kind of stuff. And it seems like most of the actors do want to do that. Like,
yeah,
especially the voice actors that played the characters, or probably vice versa, I guess. Like, it seems like they would want to, right?
Well, I mean, so far they've been successful with it. I mean, they were able to get that done with Bo-Katan, and I think they did really well with that. It's unfortunate they couldn't get Ashley Eckstein to play Ahsoka Tano, but I also think she might be too small Ahsoka Tano in live action.
That's a thing too. Sometimes there's physical limitations, like they just don't look like the character.
Yeah, and it's a shame because I mean I've always known her as the voice of the character, but I also think Rosario Dawson has done an amazing job as Ahsoka Tano. So,
well, that's why I'm curious to see how Thrawn's gonna look. You know what I mean? Like how close they're gonna get it. You know?
Well, I mean, he's blue.
Hopefully he doesn't have
so far he's blue, and he's got some pretty cool
face.
shoulders.
Yeah, right. Eh? He's got a good back. The back of his ears look pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't have a big Grand Inquisitor face. I don't want it.
Cad Bane, Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah. Cad Bane, I think wasn't as bad. I liked it.
As far as I'm concerned, they 100% nailed it so far. So. Okay, so is there anything else that you guys want to chip into this, or?
No, I think we're good.
I feel like I don't really specifically know episodes, but I feel like there's probably some stuff to do with Inquisitors that possibly would be good to know, as far as like it's confirmed it will be our introduction to like live action Inquisitors through that. Or no, not introduction.
Not
you know what I
introduction,
mean?
no.
They're gonna be in there. They're gonna be in there, and if people don't know stuff about Inquisitors, it's good to know some of that stuff.
I think you mean like they're introducing a new Inquisitor, like somebody. I don't think we.
someone original.
We've seen this one yet. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I know there's been a lot of speculation as to who this person might be, but who knows who it's going to be at this point?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it at
We all
that.
know. We all know who I'm hoping for.
Please tell us all.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The guy, the guy from our versus battle, so that we could see the versus battle.
Yeah,
Galen
right.
Merrick.
Galen
Because
Merrick.
Tell me I missed the segue there.
so the
Yeah.
reason I say that though is because I did read like a speculation thing, and it brought up a couple of points that actually made it kind of make sense that this could be the direction that they go. Because during Rebels, they actually approached shoot, I can't think of his name, but the guy who does the voice for Maul as
Sam
well as
Witwer.
Star
Same
Killer.
over, yeah.
Sam Witwer.
Yeah. They approached him about doing a Star Killer role in Rebels, but then it ended up getting scrapped. So, he hasn't come to canon yet, but this would be a really great way for them to do it, is have him as an Inquisitor, apprentice versus apprentice. So let's go.
Yeah, right. We set this up not knowing.
Yeah,
this could be real,
Here we go. Segue.
Yeah, segue.
But yeah, before we get there, definitely check those things out. You've got about 2 months, so try to catch up on as much as you can. We know we will be, and we'll be definitely here to talk to you guys about this series when it comes out. So that being said, we are here at our 3rd edition of. So far, we've had Din Djarin versus Jango Fett. We've had
Count Dooku.
Count
Dooku versus
Dooku
Mace Windu.
Mace Windu.
Yep.
And now we're here with a new one, who is
Epic
the
battles,
battle,
by the way, guys.
battle of the apprentices. Vader's apprentice, Galen Merrick, also known as Star Killer, versus the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano. And fight.
And go, yeah.
So where do you guys feel on this battle?
Okay, so first I just want to bring up a couple things. So this is battle number 3. Okay, so battle number 3, we got 265 views of this. So far, this is our biggest view tweet so far. So 265 has surpassed the first one, which was I think 164. So the second one didn't even hit 100, but apparently people weren't as excited for that one. But this one seemed to have sort of piqued some people's interests as well, even though we're still not getting a lot of comments, but people are looking at it. We did get one comment though. We got one, guys. So
hey,
he's
start somewhere.
we
right?
got we got one, and he usually is a regular on here, Wolfman. So Wolfman says, in a pure saber battle, Snips wins. Pure Force Starkiller, but I think because of the Force, Starkiller gets a slight edge. That's what he says. So that's Wolfman 93011. That's him on there. And guys, if you haven't followed the Twitch as well, the Twitter channel, it is posted right under our name, right under the YouTube channel as well. So make sure you follow us there so you can actually participate with us, because there's other things we put on here as well. I like posting random things I see on the internet and posting on here, see what people think, right? So
and we do
there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do want to hear you guys' opinions on these versus battles, because we like bouncing our ideas off each other, but we want to hear your guys' ideas too, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So there was that. Was there another thing that I wanted to mention? Is that? No, okay, never mind. That's kind of all I think that's what I wanted to make sure that that people are aware of. This was our most popular so far versus battle. It's a little bit. I know we've only had 3, but I mean that's the 265. That's a lot of views. But anyways. For me, I'm just gonna quickly say, I I agree kind of with Wolfman a little bit. There's a difference. Like I think Starkiller was more powerful. But I mean, Ahsoka's grown up kind of too. You know, she's kind of gone from Padawan to how she is now. So, but I mean, maybe I guess if we're gonna say apprentice, like, I mean, it's possible that she would have been better with the forms, sort of like with the wielding, with the fighting. Maybe she was more agile. But I think Starkiller had more power. Obviously, in the game, you can see what he did in the game with pulling down these ginormous Star Destroyer ships and, like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
multiple
So,
at a
like,
time. Like,
you know what I mean? So I
crazy.
think Starkiller has the advantage with the Force, but yeah, I think Ahsoka would probably take it in a battle. I say, Starkiller had two lightsabers as well, right? Like in the second one or the first one? I can't remember, right? He had two?
The main Starkiller had one. The one from 2, who was a clone of himself, had 2.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and he, like, when he had the one, he did wield it, sorry, the same way as Ahsoka does with her left hand backwards, like face towards your body, like the lightsaber going
Yeah.
the other way instead of
Yeah.
outward.
Well, you can definitely see the similarity. Like, obviously, when Anakin, well, Darth Vader was teaching Starkiller, obviously the form seems to be kind of the same or similar in form or stance or whatever, right? So you can definitely see the resemblance a little bit, but yeah, I think Starkiller gets kind of an edge in my opinion. Even though I don't want to, I like Ahsoka. Ahsoka's like one of my favorites, but
Yeah,
I think he's much stronger. But I don't know about smarter, but stronger for sure.
she's definitely prettier.
It's better on the eyes, yes.
Yeah.
And there it is, folks.
Thinking with the wrong head, bud.
Do you want me to go ahead, Eldor? Or
Yeah, go for it.
Want to go? All right. So, yeah, one thing that I was kind of thinking of is, like, if we were to talk of, like, both of them leading a group, like if it were like an army versus an army, and they're both at the helm, I think Ahsoka 100% wins that because she just has so much battle experience fighting in the Clone Wars. You know, working with the clones for years. Like, basically her whole growing up was war, right? Like slaying battle droids and all that.
Well,
So
and she had the best mentors too, right? The best people to watch.
Yeah,
all the Grand Masters
all the
leading
best war
commands, right?
generals.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as far as like experience in in combat, like true combat experience, she has so much more than Galen Merrick. But I think Galen Merrick has a lot more experience in fighting Force users, in that his main job for Vader was hunting down Jedi and fighting against Jedi almost consistently for most of his growing up. So it's kind of like, I think that's kind of where Galen does have the edge, where he understands how Jedi's fight and spent a lot of his life fighting against Force users, whereas Ahsoka maybe had like a few confrontations with Force users, but not nearly as much. So I also give the edge to Starkiller. But same with you, Andy. I do like Ahsoka. I would love for her to win, but I just don't think she has the edge in the Force user versus Force user battle. But if it was an army, I think she for sure wins that.
like, I think if she's like her older state of Ahsoka, like she's more, because we've seen like basically Galen Merrick, who's basically the very first Inquisitor, almost like kind of like unofficially, right? And like Ahsoka, older Ahsoka, anyways, as we've seen in Rebels and stuff, or the episodes that she fights the Inquisitors and stuff. I mean, she's she outmatches the Inquisitors hugely. But I mean, obviously, Galen Merrick would probably be a lot more stronger, or was a lot more stronger than any of those guys combined.
Yeah, just so much more in tune with the Force compared to them.
Right. Yeah. So much more darkness. A lot more anger.
A lot more hatred.
A lot more hate.
Okay.
What about you, Elder?
Okay, so I had to think about this one because if you look at them on paper, this should be a raffle stomp for Starkiller. I mean, dude is just, I mean, the way he was created, the way he was designed, I mean, utterly overpowered in lightsaber ability and force use. I mean, this guy sat there, he took down Jedi Masters like it was nothing. Took down Vader, nearly took down the Emperor if it wasn't for just a little mistake he made along the way. Yeah, against Ahsoka Tano, no, this isn't a fight. This should be a very short fight. This should be over. So I had to go and think of this from a different direction. Number one, we can't have him be this powerful. I had to think of this. We had to even it out just a little bit. That being said, I also started to look at this from which Ahsoka Tano is fighting him. So at this point, I think I would say the best Ahsoka Tano we saw was the Ahsoka Tano that fought Maul during the last episodes of Clone Wars. Who, in some ways, is similar to Starkiller. So, if you look at it, so I have to agree. If you look at it from pure lightsaber battling, I think because of her abilities training with probably one of the greatest of all time, I give her the slight advantage as far as lightsaber duel. Obviously, force use you have to give the Starkiller. There's no way around that.
Mm-hmm.
But I started looking at the intangibles of it after a couple minutes, and that was where it kind of swayed me. The one thing about Starkiller had no hand actions, and if there was one thing that we saw, Ahsoka Tano in her greatest fight ever, she fought Darth Maul, also had no handle of emotions. And once he lost control of those emotions, she snapped on it like that. And she was able
such a big upper hand
and she knew and she caught it. And even at that moment, the first thing she said to him was, "You're lucky my master wasn't here. He would have wiped the floor with you." Well, I'm not sure it would have been the exact same with Starkiller, but she knows how to catch people in there at the weakest.
Yeah, and we do know that Maul is also a very powerful foe as well.
And the thing I see here, the longer this fight goes, the more it goes to her advantage, because Starkiller will start to become undone. And he'll start to get angry, start to lose his focus, and this girl has been taught to focus throughout a fight. I give the slight advantage to Ahsoka Tano. She wins.
Yeah, another thing I wasn't really thinking of until you explained your reasoning there is light side always does have plot armor as well. So, you're kind of thinking about like Darth Vader hurling all those rocks at Kenobi in the Kenobi series, and how he's just like his resolution is so strong that he's impervious to these attacks. She potentially has some degree of that kind of thing going on too.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I could see Starkiller losing it, or catching it, taking advantage, and just catching him while he's before he can regain himself.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I like how you were like, they're essentially the same people. I'm like, yeah, they are. It's Sam Witwer. It's Sam. Both both his characters. It's funny. Sorry, that was just came in my head.
Yeah.
Something stupid, but it just whatever.
But the thing is, if I didn't start thinking it from a different angle, it's like, why are we even having this battle? This is so cut and dry.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like if their powers were even, their powers had the same, Ahsoka would be more. She would come out on top. I like hands down, because I think, like you said, like she trained with some of the greatest masters like ever, you know what I mean? Like she had so much to pull from. Master Yoda, like unreal, like, you know what I mean?
Luminar,
So like everybody, you know.
Mace,
So yeah, like there was so like, so she got the benefit of all of that, you know what I mean? So she came from a great era of that. So I think, yeah, definitely she would get the upper hand for sure in if they were even in the power, right? But yeah, hands down, like if Starkiller doesn't lose his temper and you know, is able to you know, maintain it or whatnot, like I think he would just crush her, like, you know.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But I think, but I would think as the fight went on and he started picking up advantages, and suddenly he thinks he's got her, and suddenly she blocks one shot that she shouldn't have blocked. Suddenly he's angry.
She would have the mental stamina, I think, more so than him, for sure. Definitely. Like, and like you could see it like in some of the episodes where, you know, we're saying to get ready for or whatnot. Like in the episode of like the Tales of the Jedi episode where Anakin's training her to like where it eventually becomes that part where they're trying to escape in the finale, her and Rex, right?
And like it's
and you know, like she was just, you know, he was relentless with her training. Like, and I think that there's two different types, obviously, of Anakin, obviously Vader and Anakin, right? They were two different. They're the same people essentially, but their training, I think, at the time that he trained the apprentices were totally different, right? Like he's training Starkiller, and it's basically you know, it's probably brutal and you know, and unforgiving and all this stuff, right? He's just full of anger, and he's just training this guy, like,
and also leaning more to the, you know, the power that comes from the dark side,
using the dark side power, right? As opposed to Ahsoka, where he's training her. Yes, it's still, she feels it's still, it's so tough for the point she doesn't feel like she can do it, but, you know, like he doesn't, you know, at this point where he's training her, he doesn't realize the path that he's taken, you know what I mean? So he's just training how Obi-Wan trained him, and all the other masters trained, or whatever it is, right? And, you know, getting her ready to be a better version of herself, right? As opposed to Starkiller, where it's just like you're killing Jedi, you're going after Jedi. This is, you got to be strong. You got to be strong. You got to take him down, right? So there's two different styles of training there, right?
So yeah, this is a tough one because I feel like I almost feel like I want to change my answer, but at the same time, I think I should stick with it because that's what I said.
But you know, this is
but also too, there's Legends versus canon too, right? So that's why I would love to see him come to canon, so we know how powerful he is. Because obviously, Legends, they can exaggerate the power further than they could in canon. So
right.
But I also think that's the beauty of it, is that we have the ability to go back and say, well, which version do we want to use, or like even in the case of General Grievous, The canon General Grievous is nothing like the old original Grievous that was conceived. That was much more brutal, much more angry, much more um, powerful, and he was unforgiving to the Jedi that he fought. I mean, not to say that he wasn't tough in the canon stuff that we've seen or in the Clone Wars, but they made him much. The original Grievous was much more powerful than this. So it kind of leans into which Grievous you want to talk about. So I like that you have this stuff. I mean, when we talk about Luke Skywalker, which Luke Skywalker are we talking? We're talking about the Luke Skywalker that just finished fighting Vader. We talking about the Luke Skywalker at the end of The Last Jedi. We talking about the Luke Skywalker that was the most powerful Jedi of all time in Legends. I mean, it's great to be able to pull from all these different places and say, well, what do we do?
Yeah, are we talking about Luke Skywalker that would have died from the cold if Han Solo didn't save him?
Yeah, we could go there. We could. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that being said, I mean, I think this it's funny because it for me it went from this is a terrible choice to there's something here. Maybe I can figure something out interesting off of it. And that was kind of cool. I mean, I had a couple weeks to think it over, and I was surprised with the result I came up with as far as how I felt. Have we any ideas of what we want to do next?
I mean, I was thinking like keep with the theme of Ahsoka, and you know, maybe have Thrawn on there with somebody or but I mean, he's not really he's more strategic mind, I guess. Maybe we try to find two strategic minds or something. Like it doesn't always have to be.
She is also a strategic mind, just maybe not quite on the same level.
Who?
Ahsoka.
Oh yeah. No, but I mean, like, I don't know. I what do you guys think? Like, I don't know. Like, I haven't really thought too much about it, but I mean, maybe we can figure something out, or we don't have to do it here, but we can.
I feel like I kind of like almost am taking over too much. I kind of like gave the idea for the last two, so I feel like I need to sit this one out as far as choosing.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't have anything in my mind at the moment, but
Yeah.
I definitely want to think of something over the next few hours so that we can have something up right away.
Yeah.
So, questions do we
Rancor versus? No, I'm just joking.
It can be factions. It could be animals. It could be, well, maybe not animals. I don't know. Tauntaun versus Rancor.
Yeah. Actually, I just thought of something.
You know
cool
what? There it is. There it is. Wampa versus Rancor.
Yeah. That would be interesting. But yeah, something I forgot to say about the trailer that I really liked was that it showed for Outlaws is it showed a Rancor all slobbery.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yes, Rancor. And it kind of looked like it was Jabba Hutt's palace. I'm not sure, but first glance, that's kind of what I thought of when I saw it. So,
well, it's in the realm, right? So it's in the realm of possibilities for sure. But yeah, no, I will we'll think about it, guys, and we'll have it posted up. I'll have it posted up by late tonight or tomorrow. I won't wait like last. I forgot last time. I forgot it was like, I think it was like half the week. I was like, oh man, or someone Elder or one of you guys messaged me. Oh crap, yeah.
Yeah, that was me because I was
oh yeah, you were talking on your stream, yeah.
Well, no, I was hanging out in somebody's Discord. I think it was Horizon's Discord, and I was like, "Yeah, who do you guys think would win?" And then they're like, you know, kind of giving some ideas and stuff. And then I went to pull up the link, and then I'm like, "Oh, it's not on there. Uh-oh."
Yeah. Yeah, we won't I won't wait that long again. But I think that's probably anything else for today? Like tonight? Do you guys have anything else? Anything
I
else
got
to
something I wanted to touch on. Is last time I was trying to say something about the High Republic, and like my internet was cutting out. Plus, I was kind of like stumbling on what I was trying to get across. So I want to give some clarification on that. So what I was saying is, with the potential future of High Republic entering into the the films and shows and whatever else we have coming in the near future or long future, whenever. Um, so in those stories, there is non-binary characters. Okay, so it's kind of bringing something that's from our world into their world. And what I was saying is, I hope that this type of way of thinking isn't kind of viewed with the same type of scrutiny that Bud Light, Target, all these kind of companies that have kind of leaned towards those type of ideas. They've faced some really harsh criticism and all that kind of stuff. So I really hope that Star Wars doesn't face that kind of adversity from that story. Actually, I found out afterwards too, with Tales of the Jedi. Apparently, those are based off books about Ahsoka, where she actually has a love interest that is a female. So it's kind of something that they shied away from because they were worried of public perception.
yeah.
So kind of curious how they're gonna travel these waters, and I hope that people don't hate on them, whatever they choose to do. So that was what I was trying to say last time when I was breaking up and I was not
When you're
coming across so clearly.
when you were going through the tunnel.
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah. Fun,
Yeah.
fun.
Apologies, guys. I am back.
Oh, hey. Welcome back.
How you doing?
You just missed my recap of what I was trying to say last time out at the cabin when it was breaking up and everything.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I
I'll
just
have to
wanted
catch
to
it.
give some clarity on what that was all about, and yeah.
Oh, we're glad everything is okay and everything's working out good. I have no idea where that went, but but so is there anything else that we wanted to talk about here, or do we feel like we've covered everything for the night, or?
I think I'm good. I don't have anything else. I don't think. Like I'm still trying to think of the versus battle right now. So that's where
Yeah,
my
we're
mind
kind
is.
of in that same
Yeah.
spot.
That's where my mind is right now. So
Yeah, I'm good over here. Like I said, just wanted to clarify that one thing, and then that's good for me for the evening.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of Jedi battles that we could think of.
yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if I like. I know we can do like Jedi versus Jedi or something, but trying to think out of the box a little bit. But
I mean,
Or what about like different versions of the same character against each other?
that's something
Like
we could do also.
like
yeah,
I don't know, young Yoda versus old Yoda. I don't know. Some or good Dooku versus bad Dooku. I don't know. Something like that would be kind of cool.
mm.
Yeah.
One day,
Oh,
one day.
oh, well,
Something to think
we'll
about.
slowly get there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think we've covered it for tonight. Um, so Andy, where can we find you, bud?
Mostly on Twitch. Well, I guess Andy_beads on Twitch. That's where you can find me right there.
Yes, right there in front of.
Right there in front of your faces, guys.
Nice and beautifully done now.
Nice and beautifully done.
And Swampgrass.
Yeah, I'm on Twitch a lot. On Twitch most of the time. Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. Actually, I shouldn't say that because my schedule's been really loose. But yeah, Monday to Friday sometime. And yeah, that's Twitch, twitch.tv/swampgrass420. And also I have a new project that I'm kind of putting some work into. I'm trying to come out with a YouTube channel, launching a YouTube channel and a series with some Sons of the Forest content. So that's something I'm working on for the future. So
Nice. Looking forward to seeing it. All right, and I am Darth Eldor. When I'm on, you can find me at twitch.tv/Darth Eldor. I do have a YouTube channel as well, under the same name, Darth Eldor. And if I'm not doing those things, you'll either find me here on the Collective or messing around on Twitter, just throwing some random thoughts out there. But that being said, hey, we had another great episode. This is actually our 10th episode, guys. Been doing pretty good
Number
with
10.
nice.
10. We're veterans now.
Yes.
We hit 10.
Yes. We're getting there. But we'll be back in 2 weeks for episode 11. And hopefully we'll have some more news for you. And more good stuff to talk about. Till then, as always, Force will be with you.